Mama said I ain't right, got a bad streak a mile long.
This week's episode is a host spotlight with our very own Emma Ross.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast, Emma. So, Emma, I actually have to say something before we actually get started, because I don't think anybody realises like how an exciting time it must be for you right now. Because like to the outside world, doesn't it, Kelly? Like
Yeah.
it's all these glamorous events and everything else, but actually, like you have got so much happening over at Ross Commercial Finance.
Yeah.
Tell us
So
about that.
exciting is one word, stressful is another. We have been really blessed with the fact that the business has went from strength to strength. We've got so many great people round about us. You'll see we've won quite a few awards. We get to go to all these glamorous events with our lenders and partners and stuff, which is all amazing. It is also very tiring as well, though. Like especially like things like with the kids and trying to get babysitters and all that, and the fact that I get horrendous hangovers. So free alcohol always means a hangover for 2 or 3 days. So that is one thing that's not so glamorous. But yeah, everything's going really well. Like I couldn't be any happier in the process and where we're at now with it.
How long's it been?
2 years next month.
Wow.
So 27th of October, 2 years ago. So yeah, 2 years next month.
And see, because obviously I've came in after Ross Commercial Finance has like been established. Like I've came in and I've only known you from your own business. But like talk us through and tell everybody else, because I think this is the one part that's so interesting for you, and we've spoke about it a couple of times on where we first started. But it really did pave who you are as a person.
Yeah. So I've always said, like, I feel like my process started from a really young age. Like when I was I can't remember the exact age. I think it was maybe like 14 or 15. I started in a coffee shop, and I think that taught me exactly all the traits that I needed to be like successful or a good salesperson. So like how to upsell, how to have good manners, how to do customer service, all that sort of stuff. And then from there I went on to work in like retail, and ended up being like the top person for selling store cards, and it was always kind of aiming to be the top at whatever I was doing. Like I told you before, I won barista of the year even when I was in coffee shops. So I always like to like kind of challenge myself that way. But then I went into, I was really bad at school, didn't get any of my when I say bad, I was well behaved, but I wasn't very like smart or anything like that. So I didn't get any of my like, I had like hires, but it was all in things that were like the practical classes, like drama and like craft and design. And then I went on to do uni, but I dropped out because I had to do a presentation and I didn't want to do one, so I dropped out of there. And then I went to work in the bank because somebody I knew said, if you start, I get £1,000, recommend a friend. And they was like, I'll half it with you. And I was like, okay, that's good. I'll do that. I went in, just was answering the phones to people saying like, this is your balance. And then I progressed from there. So I ended up going into doing outbound sales, which is a place where you can really excel in because you're cold calling people, which is a really hard job. And then moved into doing residential mortgages, which is like you're buying your main residence type of thing. But that didn't really interest me very much because it's the same thing every day I was doing. Then moved into doing commercial with HSBC, which I loved, and that's where it really kind of catapulted my career. So we started off just in a small team in Hamilton, and it grew massively. Ended up looking after London South East for HSBC, and then I left there and went on to work for another brokerage firm. Done that for like, I think it was about 4 years. I done that for. And I ended up looking after Scotland and Northern Ireland, and then that's where I learned the most, like without a doubt. Like I thought I had a really good commercial knowledge. I worked in the bank, and then I left, and I was like, wow, actually, I don't know anywhere near as much as what I thought I knew. And it was a massive learning curve, like I mean, extreme learning curve in such a short space of time, and it was what I needed because I think I was in a environment where it was, if you get it wrong, you're screwed. Like there's where a lot of environments you can make mistakes and stuff, but if you got it wrong, you were really like, you'd no choice but to get this right kind of thing. So I had to learn the hard way, but I actually look back at that now and I'm thankful for that because it gave me all the tools that I needed, that when the time was right to move on, then I had all my tools ready to go and do that. So yes, started Ross Commercial Finance 2 years ago, and I've just been extremely lucky that I've got so many good people around about me that have supported me, helped me to grow, like been massive cheerleaders for me, whether that's my parents, my aunt and uncle, like our siblings, like helping with the kids, like to allow me to work so much, to the fact that I've got really good friends and the stuff that understand and like help even with stuff like a couple of my friends will like text stuff to be like, why don't you, even with the podcast, why don't you talk about this? And
Yeah.
like just things that people genuinely want to help us. And then my clients and my lenders are the biggest things. So I've got clients that have been with me right from day one. We work with introducers, so that would be like accountants or residential mortgage brokers, etc., that will like pass us their clients to help support with their commercial deals. I've got so many of them that have kind of stayed with me, and the lenders, which is probably the thing that's most important in us, because if you build a strong relationship with lenders, then you can get a lot better results for your client. And I've
Yeah.
got extremely good relationships with the lenders, and just kind of touching on that, it's so important to have that relationship, because not only can you pick up the phone and be like, this isn't going as expected, or help, like I need, and they can resolve it for you, but see, be able to be like, I need it actually at this rate, or to win this deal for you, this is what it needs to look like. So it's just having the ability to pick up the phone to the people in charge and be like, right, we need this deal done, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So obviously I've kind of been through a lot of the journey with you, like in terms of being your biggest cheerleader or one of them.
Yes.
But and normally you're quite a risk taker anyway, but it was something that you swayed with about starting your own business, wasn't it? And you
Yeah.
did really find your passion in the commercial. What was it about the commercial stuff that you just thought, this is for me?
Just it was different. Every day is a different day. Like I could be one of the coolest clients I've ever worked with was that he owned a chocolate factory. Everyone knows how much I love chocolate. Like, so you could be working with something like that. The next day you could be working with somebody that's like their first buy to let property. You could be working with somebody that owns a multi-million-pound business, and you can go at different parts of the journey with that person. So we do a lot with like startup businesses as well. And if you're in with them from the start and you do a good job with them, you're with them the full
life.
journey a lot of the time, which is great, because you'll see that business where they might have started off with an unsecured loan of 40,000, and then they'll come to you, oh, we need vans now, or actually we're now wanting to own our premises, and you're there that full journey, and you're seeing that business getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's so, and it genuinely is a lot of time really appreciated, because if people will say, I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for, and I'm not saying, oh, if it wasn't for me, but do you know what I mean? You feel that you've actually made a difference in their journey and their business, which is really rewarding.
I think that's the one thing that I have noticed about you, is your ability to problem solve is like undescribable, isn't it? Like you can see something, and like I've came to you with various different things, and it could be we talk about houses or we talk about something else, and then you actually, and you do it so quickly as well, which I think actually probably why people love you so much as well, is if I'm coming to you with a problem, you just go boom 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 boom, sorted.
I
This
wish
is
it
what you
was like
should
that
do.
in my personal
And I know,
life.
and I know you might be like, oh, but I
do think it is different, like, because like Marty actually laughs at me, because it'll get to a Friday night and like it's as if my brain just like stops, and I'll be going from like a million miles an hour doing everything ordering, and like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like I'm like mush, like just like in my own wee world. And I was like, it must be because my brain works so hard during the week. But I would say that within business, I'm so focused, I'm so driven. I'm very good at problem solving scenarios. Like, see if a client comes to me and says like, Emma, we want this, how can we do it? I'm like, I'm not going away without finding a way that this can be done. Like, and there's so many, like my friend Lee always says, like so many cats you can skin. Is that the right phrase? Like, there's so many ways to skin a cat. That's what he says. But it's so true. Like, so like if a client comes to us and says like, right, Emma, I need 200,000. I'll be like looking at the full picture, right? Give me your background, tell me all your assets, let's see your business, let's see your accounts. Can we do it as an unsecured loan? Can we do it as a secured loan? Do you have assets we can raise against? As you get invoices you can raise it against? Like, and there's normally a solution there, as long as the company isn't in a terrible position or the individual's been done for frauds or something like that, then there's normally always a solution we can find for a client. So it's just really understand, as a broker, our job is to understand like what the problem is and to find that solution. And it's just about doing the right due diligence to make sure that we can find that.
and to like the general public as well, because obviously when you say commercial finance, you're like, Oh, is that like loans on shops and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
That's one thing that I maybe regret slightly, is calling it Ross Commercial Finance. And one instance I don't, because I think it's really good because people know we do commercial as well, and we're not like a main residence mortgage broker. But on the other side, we do residential, like we do like buy to lets, holiday lets, HMO, like all the sort of stuff that classes as a residential asset. And see the amount of clients that I'm talking to, and they'll be like, I'll say, sir, or I'll put a post on LinkedIn and saying like, oh, we've done a buy. And they're like, you do a buy to let? Like, we didn't know that, like kind of thing. So like that's maybe one thing that I shot myself in the foot with the name. But yeah, we do all the sort of finance, and actually a lot of what we do is residential investment. But it's the more quirkier stuff. So see if it's your standard Mr. and Mrs. Smith want to buy a buy to let property. A lot of people will go to their residential mortgage broker first, and they will have access to like kind of, I call them vanilla deals, like which are like the kind of easier, like standard deals, where we fit in really, really nice as the quirkier ones. So it'll be maybe like a portfolio landlord, it'll be 2 properties in one title, we're doing a split title, or HMOs, like everything that's like your kind of weird and wonderful, maybe a flat above a chippy, because a lot of your kind of residential brokers don't like things like that. So we've got 250 lenders on our panel, so it's a massive pool that we can go to. And there's normally always an option. So it's just really finding the right solution. And actually, I was talking to a lender, was in our office yesterday, and I was talking about what makes a good broker.
Yeah.
Because I know a few brokers out there that will just go to one lender. And if I'm being honest, the reason why they're going to that one lender is because that one lender pays them the most, which is terrible. Like, it's morally wrong, and you're not brokering correctly. So for me, what I always do is I'll find out what the solution is. I'll go to all the lenders that would do that deal, and then I present it to the client. So I'll say, here's lender A, B, C, D, and E. Here's the maximum borrowing, the rate, the fees, all that sort of stuff. But I will put my like spin on it. So I might say, oh, lender A might be dearer, but they are actually faster, because you know the process. So it depends what's most important to the client. Is it speed? Is it ease? Is it rate? Do you know what I mean? And then you can establish, well, based on this, I think the lender B would be like better for you. But sometimes we actually have like lenders that don't pay us anything, because as a broker we get paid from the lender, but sometimes lenders don't pay us anything. Like, so a really prime example is this is, if I put a deal with one of my lenders, any deal under 100,000 we don't get paid to them, but the majority of the time they've got the best rate, like, and I mean way better rate than her. So I'll always put that deal out, and then the client will always go for it. But I'll always explain to the client, like, look, we're not getting paid from the lender on this, so I'll need to take a fee from yourself. But it's just about being honest.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times that a broker wouldn't even have approached that lender, because they'll be thinking, no, I'm not going to get paid from them, or I could go to that other lender, it'll pay me double the amount. So it's about, first of all, always doing the right thing, but second of all, making sure you're being a proper broker, which means you should be checking the full market that you've got access to, and given what rates and deals are available. And I would say it's not always rate. So a lot of people are like, oh, completely rate driven. Which is fine if that's what your driver is, but it shouldn't always be the most important factor. Like, there is so much other things, like another lender might give you like unlimited overpayments or no early repayment charges. So if you want to pay it off early, having that low rate, if you've got a restriction on how much overpayments, isn't the best deal for
Yeah.
you. Or you might have a lender that will give you no fees for the product versus a 7% fee. So sometimes people just get hung up on the rate. Like, and when you actually break it down, you're like, look, yeah, this rate might look like it's 1% cheaper, but if you actually add up all the other things, it's not cheaper.
Yeah.
And we actually get the same with loan to values as well. I had a client this week that says to me, oh, but that other broker told me that they could get 75% loan to value. I was like, yeah, but they're getting you 75% loan to value of, so this might be a wee bit complicated, but I'll try and explain it. So different lenders use different valuations. So like one of our lenders, for example, will lend off of what's called the 180-day value, which means if the property's sold at auction within 180 days, what's the maximum borrowing you can get from it? Maximum value you would get from it. From vacant possession value means that what that property worth at vacant possession, and then you get like a market value, so, or investment value, which means if it's got a tenant in it or you're trading from it, what you can get, which market value would be the highest. Sometimes we have lenders that will say, I'll give you 70 or 75%, but they don't, the client doesn't know that that's actually of the 180-day value, which would actually probably end up being less than it would be if it was of like 65 or 60% of the market value. But that's where you would have a lot to do with a broker having the knowledge and not getting hung up on just the figure. Someone saying, oh, they're getting me 75%. It's like, yeah, but 75% of what? So, but that's just experience. And what is really, really important in our industry is having a broker that's got that experience. because it's a very, very quirky world out there in this like specialist finance world, that you actually do need somebody that's got that experience to help you through the process.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on that a bit there actually, but like I think sometimes a lot of people are a bit like, why would I use a broker? Why would I not go to banks directly? So what would, other than what you've touched on there, what would you say? Why would you go to a broker?
I would say that going to a broker gives you access to all the lenders to save you doing all the work, because you're not going to, realistically, how many lenders are available, is anyone going to have time? And see, by the time they wait to speak to the right person, they could be maybe 2 weeks waiting to speak to one lender, another 2 weeks waiting to speak, whereas we'll get it all done probably within about 2 days to get your quotes back. So the speed element of it, the ease element, so we're taking away a lot of the actual hassle for like paperwork, and we do a lot of the work for the client. But also access to rates. So we're classed as like a gold broker, which means that we get preferential rates, we get like deals through to direct underwriters, so we're speaking to the decision makers rather than speaking to someone maybe frontline. So yeah, I would say that using a broker, an experienced broker in that field is really important.
I just think like, because how you've spoke about that there, right? And I obviously have a little bit of an insight to it just because I'm in property as well. But I would just always go for whatever made my life easier. And that for me is probably the reason. Like if I thought about phoning a bank or trying to get through anybody, I would be like, oh, no, 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 no. Like I'll pay the fee. Sign me up, Emma.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people get hung up on the fees as well, but it's irrelevant to what that is valued to, like that person. So if you pay like a broker fee and they've managed to save you X amount in the long run, then that paying that fee is worth it. And just to have the experience of somebody that really knows what they're doing. Because some people say to me, oh, but like a really good example of this is with solicitors. Nobody moans that they've got to pay a solicitor's fee because it's just expected. Like with a broker fee, some people are like, oh no, like do you charge a fee? I'm going to go to that broker that doesn't charge a fee. But see, by the time they go to the broker that doesn't charge a fee, then come back to us. And I'm like, see, if you just paid us to start with, we would have had this over the line by now.
Yeah.
Also, now you've ruined probably the deal because you've taken it to somebody else that's now tried to place it with lenders that they've now not proposed it correctly. So now when it's came to us, I've actually have to rule out a lot of the lenders because
Yeah.
you've scurred it basically.
Do you think though that the fee is ever an issue? Or like, because I look at it and go, well, actually, this is like, you know how when people can, like they say if you buy cheap, you buy twice, etc. Like I kind of feel like that with it. Like, do you get much pushback with fees?
I don't, if I'm speaking to the clients direct, because I think they can tell the second they speak to me that like it's worth it, if that makes sense. That's maybe sounds quite big headed, but they know that they're getting value for money. Where I struggle is if it's coming from an introducer. Like, so a lot of our deals come from like residential mortgage brokers, accountants, solicitors, IFAs, all that sort of stuff. And sometimes they try and get maybe a wee bit too involved, and they'll say straight away to the clients like, oh, this is the fees. And then that person will be a bit like, oh, I don't know, like, because I'm used to having my mortgage broker that doesn't charge me anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only pushback I get. Like, if I speak to the client direct and I explain the fees and how we work it, because we are really fair. Like, so it's not like a set fee. If the client's doing like a higher amount of borrowing, we'll lower it because with them we'll get paid higher from the lender. Or if it's the client's done 2 or 3 deals before that, so it's not like a set fee that we're like, this is a fee every time. I think when you explain that and you say if a lender's not paying us, you might need to pay us a slightly more. Most people are really sound with it. I think where actually my hardest deals that I do are with the lower value stuff rather than the higher value. See, like the deals where you're like £4 or £5 million deals, a lot of these people don't have time to like ask you a question or everything. They just leave you going with it and they know you're doing a good job. Also, when you do the lower value ones, there's a lot of education there more than anything. So I get a lot of clients that's maybe like a £30,000 buy to let, a £40,000 bridge to flip, and actually you're spending 3-4 times as much as you are with the £4 million deal, but you're making a tiny fraction of the amount, to the extent that that's why a lot of brokers will cut off as a minimum borrow, and we don't do that. But a lot of it is educational pieces because they might have been on a couple of courses, been maybe told a bit different, or been told you can get 100% borrowing, but you're not employed and you're getting it at market value, and you're like, no, you're not getting it at that. So, yeah, a lot of what I do at the lower value end is education, and we charge a minimum fee for that reason. But then at the same time, I do understand if you're borrowing 25,000, do you really want to pay $4,000 to borrow? Like, if by the time you add on solicitors' fees, brokers' fees, valuation fees, like there is an element, is that worth it? But a lot of times it is for the clients.
See, you were talking about introducers there. How important are introducers to your business, and what makes an introducer? How can someone be an introducer to you?
Technically, anyone can be an introducer. So I could meet somebody in the pub and they could be like, my uncle's business needs £1 million to buy his premises or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And they could technically be an introducer. But most of the time it is like an accountant or we were at the football last night with a guy that's got an IFA firm, and he was like, I was like, so what do you do with your commercial stuff? He's like, oh, we don't really do anything with it. I'm like, hello, you can be my friend. So yeah, anything like that. Also, anyone that's basically got a client base that they want them supported, and then we'll pay for introductions if somebody wants the payments. But a lot of people don't actually. So a lot of our introducers don't want any payments for it. They just want us to pass them stuff. So like the solicitor that I work really close with, I refer all my stuff on to her, and it's not because she refers me stuff. She has phenomenal solicitor, Michelle Rankin, giving a wee shout out.
Mine too.
But I would say that we just pass stuff between us because we both know each other's like commitment to work, our work ethic, our morals. So we align with each other. So we don't pay anything to each other on it. But depends what people want, really.
Yeah.
And how important would you say introducers are to your business?
Oh, extremely important. Like I would say that not even just from a point of view of they give us deals, but actually I've built up so good friendships with my introducers. Like actually my introducers I talk to more than my actual friends nowadays. Like a lot of them are in the same line of work. They've got running their own businesses. They're we've got the same kind of pool of clients, so we'll phone them to talk about that client before we know. We're like, what are you doing at weekends? Oh, you're out there, I'm going there, I'll meet you. And before you end up pals with them. But I actually think the introducers that I've kept solid relationships with are the ones that I've now just became pals with, to be honest.
Yeah, it is like a link, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you all have to link together in order to get, because it's not just the one size fits all and everybody does the same thing. It's like you need to have these people around you.
I think as well though, like, so there's a couple of people that maybe aren't like, maybe don't like my humour, or I'm like the way I dress, all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. They might find a commercial broker that works with them that suits them. So I'm totally fine with that. Like if like I think the people that I've managed to gel with, that I get the most like business from, and we've got the best relationships with, are the ones that have became more my friends. So we would gel together, and I actually prefer that, to be honest.
Let's talk about bridging, because this is something that I get quite a lot of questions about from my clients. But it's like when everybody thinks of bridging, they think of like 2007, people were using bridging loans because they hadn't sold their own house and they wanted to buy the other. But like you never hear it, in my opinion, you never hear what it actually is and what it's beneficial for. So explain that to everybody.
Yeah. Bridging can be an amazing product if it's used correctly. So a lot of people think bridging's too expensive, but actually we break it down if you're using it for the correct purposes. So to bridge the gap. So you're selling a property and you're buying another one, you need something in between. Or a lot of time we use it in commercial investment where they're buying a commercial asset but doesn't have tenants in place yet. So they'll put them on a bridge to allow them to purchase it, get the tenants in place, then move to a commercial mortgage. By that time, you've got really good tenants in place, so you can go to a tier 1 lender, which means your long-term finance is actually at a much better rate than it would have been at the start. Also on a residential property, you might buy a property below market value, which you get a lot of, then add value to it. Property might, let's say property is worth 100, they got it for 80, spent 20,000 on it, it's now worth 150. We will then do a refinance based on 150, pull out 100% of their money that they took originally, plus give them more to move on to their next one, which is really, really common. So it's a good product to have available. It's just making sure that it's used correctly. And one of the biggest things is people putting people on bridges that can't get them off of it, which is just wrong. So if you're going to put someone in a bridge, you need to make sure that the exit is there and available so that somebody's not stuck on a bridge.
Yeah.
So what's your ideal client as a commercial broker?
There's really not an ideal client. We could have any client at all. Like, so it could be like, I've got one agreed from a guy that was living in Nigeria, never been in the UK before, wanted to get involved in residential investment. We get him funding. I've had a guy that's been at uni and working part-time in a coffee shop, want to get onto the property ladder, got him like a short-term let investment, right the way up to we've got multi-million pound companies. Honestly, it can be an individual, limited company, partnership, SIP, SaaS. It can be any sort of funding as long as the purpose of the funds are for like investment development or business growth. Really do absolutely anything. I do a lot of work with footballers as well. So it could be that a footballer has left football and they've got like a retirement pot and they're like, what am I going to do with this money? So we're looking at how they can get recurring income going forward. It's also a really good like way for them to think of what they are going to do after football. We also do a lot with football clubs. So whether it's helping them, we've had finance approved for a football club buying their stadium. We're looking at the actual funding of players. So using the actual strength of the player to fund the transfer, which can be really, really good if clubs are trying to grow or they don't, say, for example, somebody was wanting to, they've got a player that's going to move and they were wanting to actually fund the move of that player. We can be involved in that part. So it's really quite a weird and wonderful sector because it's not a specific sector. There's not a specific client. We can just fund basically anything.
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
interesting.
So you've spoke about supporting footballers and stuff, but you also have a connection to football as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I'm one of the trustees for She Can, which is an all-girls football club. And yeah, both my girls play. I play not very well, but I do play. Marty's one of the co-founders on it. So yeah, it's something like I truly am like passionate about, like the whole fact of we've got like 180 girls and like registered or 80 women. So it's just so exciting to be part of something that is all about like actually we went to Glasgow City game last night and that's how they started, like I think it was 1998, I think it said on the wall. And how big they've got and how that all started by the two ladies that run that, just their kind of vision on how they, and I'm like, wow, it's just something for us to like look up to. Yeah, so I'm involved with She Can, which I love, and then I am also involved with EKFC. So we're the stadium sponsors, so the Ross Commercial Finance Stadium, not K Park. I literally, even my own mum and dad still call it K Park. I'm like, Mum, it's the Ross Commercial Finance Stadium.
I said it in your house.
I
And you
know.
went, it's not K-pop in my own house.
So yeah, we're involved in that as well. So I think the fact that the whole family, like since I've been a wee girl, like my full family have been involved in football. Like I've watched it. Like Jessa was, I think, one of the youngest players to play for the Baby Bears when she was 2. And like she's like now obsessed with it. She wants to be a footballer. She loves all like footballers, like males and women. And it's really, really good actually because she's like obsessed with Kirsty Howitt, and we actually take the Kirsty blanket on holiday with us every year. So like every time we go to a different holiday, I take a photo of to Kirsty Howitt. I'm like, yep, that shoe in Spain now, that shoe in like Dubai now. But I just love how she's got them to look up to as well. So yeah, it's just I love being involved with it, and we really want to grow it and see where we can take She Can. As a charity, 100% of the money goes back to the girls. And we're really, really passionate to actually grow that and be the best it can be.
Emma, your CV must be absolutely like it sounds so impressive, but you have won so many awards, like so many. How do you keep track of them all?
Yeah, I don't know. It's such insane. Like that, the whole awards thing blows my mind. Like, because I feel like we've been recognised against so many great competitors, and like I'm just like, wow. Like even the one we were at the other day, I was like to Kelly, like, no, I'm not going to win this one, so it's fine. Like I don't need to be nervous. Like, and then when I was actually reading out the person's name that I thought was going to win, and then when they said my name, I was like, that's me. But yeah, it's went really, really well. I won awards when I was in my previous company as well, and then when I went myself, I won Businesswomen Scotland, like the Rising Star Award, and then I won the B&C Award, which is probably one of the biggest awards in our industry, and I always wanted the Golden Bee, but we won Best Bridging Broker there which is amazing because I think we're the first Scottish company to win any awards, and it's really, really hard for a Scottish company to win because most of the lenders are down south, so to be recognised against every other company that were English and to win, I was like, oh, that's just so amazing. And then we won one last week, which is Inspiring City Awards for Outstanding Contribution by a Business Leader. I'm up against people that have been in business for like 20, 30 years, and I'm listening to their stories being read out. So even they do the wee bit where your name
Yeah.
comes out and you're listening, and I'm like, oh wow, they're amazing. Like they should win. And then they said my bit, and I'm like, ah. And then they said my name. I'm like, what, me? Like, so yeah, it's just unreal. But between now and the end of the year, we've got another 6 that we're up for. I'm like, oh, and then we've got a really big one that we're up for down in Manchester. So the NECFBs are like kind of governed bodies. So we've got one really big one where we're up for 4 there. I'll need the propanerol and the Imodium on the ready for that day.
Is this like the Golden Globes of finance world?
Yeah, so the BNC and the NECFB I think are the 2 biggest
Right.
in like our industry. But like to be up for this NECFB, we're up for Scottish Broker of the Year, but we've got some tough competition in that as well. But I'm just I'm pure nervous about it already. But yeah, fingers crossed.
But we look at it like that with you, because obviously like we're friends with you as well. As much as like we're in sort of same industry. Kelly, you definitely are as well. But like we see that for you. So how does that feel when like you are being recognised like that, or it's just like because the one thing that you are, Emma, is you are so humble about it. Like, and that's such a lovely thing as well, because I mean you have so many awards. You're obviously up for another 6, but you are like, it doesn't matter what it is or who it is or anything like that. Like you will still go out your way to help absolutely every single person.
I definitely do believe that things do come back to you. So I always do think, like, first of all, I think having just like, I want to help people in general. But I do think the more you help people, the kinder you are, like, no matter the scenario, then I do think it does pay itself back. And I just think I would always rather be a nice person and hopefully nobody can say anything bad about me. But yeah, I'm just with the awards, it's just, it feels amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I woke up the other day after that last one, and actually, somebody messaged me saying, oh my goodness, Emma, you only did awards, all this sort of stuff. And I actually wrote back saying, I just feel fuzzy. Like, I couldn't even describe it. Like, I just feel like warm and fuzzy inside. Like, because it's just so nice to, like, I do work my arse off, like 100% work my arse off. Like, I work like 18 hours a day, like, and I give it so much and I've got so much passion for it. And I 100% genuinely care about my clients. Like, it's not about how much money I can make from it. And just to be recognised for that is really, really rewarding.
Emma, what advice would you give to somebody that is looking to start their own business?
Go for it. Like, just go for it. Like, I just think in general, like, life is too short. Like, you might make mistakes and it will be hard, but it will pay off. I see so many businesses that just go up and up and up. Just get the right people around about you. Do your research, your due diligence. But yeah, go for it. There's so many opportunities for funding. There's grants available. If you need any support, there's ways to get like joint ventures with other people that would want to come in and invest. Like one of my friends, for example, she wants to open a cafe, and I was like, look, I'll come in as a minority shareholder, and then you can buy me out like over time. So there'll be other people that would love to support things like that. So just go for it.
So if anyone's looking for any advice or any information about starting their own business or commercial brokering or anything of that sort, then can you share your handles for social media so they can get in touch?
So I'm pretty much just Emma Ross on everything. So I feel like I've got lots of social accounts, but I'm mainly on like LinkedIn and Instagram for my 2 main ones that I use. I think on Instagram I'm Emma Ross Commercial Finance, and then on LinkedIn I'm just Emma Ross. But yeah, get a hold of me on any platform, and I'll be more than happy to help any sort of business at any stage, or any individuals that are looking to get into property. Reach out anytime at all.
Right. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, then please like and subscribe on YouTube.
And leave a 5-star review on Spotify.
Bye.
I said I ain't right. Got a bad streak a mile